完了。わかりやすく言うと、一回下に降りたってこと？
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
These days, single-player-centric Gundam games are few and far between. But SD Gundam Battle Alliance is here to fill that void. But does the game deliver, or is it fan service over substance? Well, while it's not a perfect Gundam experience, SD Gundam Battle Alliance does what it needs to do. It brings the fun with some addictive, badass action, and it does it in style. Super deformed style. Yes, indeed, this is a mecha good time. The game comes packing with a whole lot of Gundams, Jims, and Zakus, and other mechs throughout the series with an array of different moves. They come in 3 categories: infighters with an emphasis on melee combat, sharpshooters with an emphasis on ranged combat, and the all-rounders. Their base moves, even for the ones that are kind of similar, all come with their own unique animations and respective sound effects from the shows. I was quite surprised how unique each one felt, which makes unlocking them worthwhile, and there is a whole heap of mobile suits to unlock, including some of my personal favorites. We got the Easy 8 from 8th MS Team, or how about the Suravi from 00 and its massive boomin' cannons. The engaging combat and variety you get from the roster is the biggest draw this game has. The combat, while streamlined, offers enough variety to keep it interesting. They all got their main weapon and a number of sidearms, and you can combo all of them together. One thing that I really dig is the freedom you have. You can mix and match all of your attacks within the combo, and then finish them off with a heavy melee attack to slice them in half. Or you can mix it up with your sidearms and blast them out of the sky. Or how about hookshotting them back Scorpion style and then going berserk? Now, during the missions, you will be met with different scenarios. A lot of the times this will end in a boss fight, and these can be quite challenging. You will need to rely on all the game's different mechanics. You got perfect guarding at the last second to mitigate damage. You can parry attacks. And you also will need to break through their shields so that you can get them into a juggleable state. While playing the missions, you'll find credits as well as parts that you can equip to boost your stats and upgrade your mobile suit. You'll want to spend these credits sparingly though. It really becomes a grind. The first 30 levels are quick enough so you can play around with multiple mobile suits, but then you'll want to decide carefully which ones you'll take beyond 30. You can also take up to 2 AI partners with you, which come with their own perks and can be leveled up. And while in combat, you'll issue commands for them to do their special attack. They'll also help revive you if you get knocked out and ran out of emergency kits. You can play with 2 friends in co-op, and one neat thing here is that you can replay earlier missions with a friend and use a Gundam that you've already leveled up, But what's neat is that you can de-level them to avoid being overpowered and then re-level them back up at no extra cost. Once you finally finish all the main missions, you'll unlock hard mode, allowing you to go through the game again and continue leveling your mobile suit to level 80, which will be one hell of a grind. So you'll be replaying the same missions a whole hell of a lot. So whether or not you get bored really comes down to how fun you find the combat. The story here leaves a lot to be desired, and this is the game's biggest flaw. It's reminiscent of what you would find in a number of mobile games. Essentially the same story as even Rockman X Dive. Just a lazy means of crossing over all the universes and timelines of the Gundam franchise. The story follows a set of original characters and you as their commander. Suddenly things are not what they seem as a virus is causing breaks in history, and it's up to you to restore them. All the while, you'll be bombarded by an obnoxious amount of badly written dialogue and exposition. For reals, these characters do not know when to shut up.
Shut up! Shut up!
If the shows were like this, I would not be a Gundam fan. In the missions, it is sort of neat to kind of go into the events of the series, if only the execution of the journey was interesting. It also doesn't help that the new original characters decide to chat up the characters from the show during the missions. Seriously, they do not stop talking. It would have at least have been nice to have the option to turn them off when you're replaying missions. The one thing that I did like when it came to all the game's dialogue is the interactions between the two partners you choose. Their small back and forth at the beginning of the mission is kind of neat, but only a handful of them are actually unique interactions, and most are generic. It would have been nice if they had done unique interactions for each and every combination, seeing characters interact that otherwise wouldn't. That would have been way more entertaining than listening to these chatty Cathys. The presentation is pretty good. I played on the PlayStation 5 version where you can prioritize performance for 60 frames per second or visuals for ray tracing. Now I have played both ways quite a bit, and I can say regardless of which you choose, the performance is solid and pleasantly consistent either way. While the environments are rather simplistic, the lighting and all the effects of the lasers and explosions on screen look and sound awesome, as does the music. There's a lot of instrumental tunes that Gundam fans will recognize and appreciate, and you also have the ability to swap out songs and change where they play. How you do this though is a bit cumbersome since it doesn't tell you where the song plays, but instead just shows you the song titles. But it's a neat feature to have if you want to mix things up or at least change the menu music to something more classic. Overall, SD Gundam Battle Alliance is a fun game, whether you're a Gundam fan or just like some mecha action. It has its share of issues, the annoying chatterboxes, and the fact that yes, you will be replaying the same missions countless times, and that might not be for everyone. But there is a ton of content to keep you busy when it comes to the game's roster of mobile suits, especially if you want to level up more than one. And that's really what did it for me. The uniqueness of each mobile suit kept replaying missions fun enough that I'm still playing it after unlocking hard mode, and will probably take at least 2 or 3 mobile suits to level 80. One last thing is the online, and from the matches that I've played, it ran smooth. Overall, it comes down to the gameplay here. It's fun, and if you're a Gundam fan, unlocking and playing around with all the different suits can be rather addictive. While it's not perfect, it is a mecha good time, and its faults are things that could easily be improved in Battle Alliance 2. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I wasn't originally planning on reviewing this game, but after playing it, I liked it enough that I wanted to talk about it. The biggest fault here is the story and storytelling. If you're not a Gundam fan, it'll be lost on you. And if you are a Gundam fan like myself, the story will insult you. But at least it's fun to play. Fair warning though, if you have any intention on checking out Gundam movies or animations, the game will spoil some events to an extent. And this is definitely not how you want to experience said events. And if you are interested in checking out some Gundam but don't know where to start, I highly recommend the original Mobile Suit Gundam movies, which are a trilogy of remakes that improve on the original show with 3 2-hour movies. And after that, be sure to check out the 12-episode OVA 8th MS Team, which is a side story that takes place during the events of the original. And if the gorgeous old 70s, 80s animation style isn't your cup of tea, then hey, go ahead and jump right in to 8th MS Team. Since it's a side story, you'll be just fine. Anyways, before I carry on, if you enjoyed this review, you know the drill. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. This is Den, signing off.
Perfect. Kayla, get these kids out of here.
Logan?
Find another way out. Is that you? Your striker finally figured out how to shut you up.